one of our friends, the others were busy, they didn't even notice it. One of our friends got off there's something, and she was taking pictures of us and didn't realize it was us.
That had to be fascinating. What was the most memorable experience from that excursion?
On the trip? Mm-hmm. I think it was the trip itself. Being on the train, and it was very elegant, and the food was magnificent and evocative of its period, and we had a wonderful time on the train. Off the train, I think the most memorable thing was being behind the Iron Curtain, which has got to be one of life's more depressing experiences. If you ever had any thoughts of becoming a socialist, I recommend you go behind the Iron Curtain and watch it in action, and you'll turn into a capitalist overnight.
Were you able to interact at all with the citizens?
Yeah, some of the media people came on the train and interviewed us about, what we felt about Romania, and I told them.
What'd you say?
It's a depressing place. Nobody smiles in Romania. It's just depressing. The most telling moment of that subject happened not to me, but to one of my traveling companions, Danny Arnold, the man who created Barney Miller, was with us, and he told us this story, and without words, it tells the whole story of East-West relations. We were very late at night, about to cross the border into, I think, Bulgaria. And as is their wont, the border guards delayed everything. They make sure that they're doing their job, and it takes, instead of 15 minutes, an hour and a half. And so there was this long delay, long after midnight. And Danny was standing looking out the window, and on the other platform, a man about his age, very badly dressed, very poorly dressed, might have been a little drunk, because it was late at night, kind of staggered up and was watching this train, which was a curiosity behind the Iron Curtain. It was, after all, very opulent, and you could see in through the windows these very wealthy people, and there was a piano player playing in the lounge car and having a wonderful time. And
I take it by now you've taken off the hats, the veils.
Oh, yes. And this man caught Danny's eyes, and the two of them looked at each other. And there was this moment where they just locked eyes, and finally the man, this is what he did. He looked at Danny, he went, without words, said it all. You have this to look forward to, and I have this to look forward to.
Upon your return, did that incline you to get involved politically?
Well, I've always been moderately politically involved, I think, as much as, any one citizen.
With the 84 campaign around the corner.
Yes, yes. Well, I got to tell you, I'm not a Johnny-come-lately. I met and supported Gary Hart 3 months ago, so I'm...
Okay, I
may finally have a winning candidate after all these years.
Maybe you'll go do a Broadway show on his behalf.
As a matter of fact, I did a play in Washington in June, and we were about to run a benefit for him in that one.
I want to go back to musicals.
Okay.
All right, let's turn the clocks backward. 1958. Yeah, first of 18 musical shows, productions. You've won a Tony for your role in the Rothschilds. You went to the High School of Music and Art, majored in music at Queens College. None of this is news to you. Any chance of you going back in Broadway?
Well, we have been seriously looking for a good Broadway property for the last couple of years. Unfortunately, nothing that I saw was what I was looking for, and so we're going to try television again. That's I'm still looking. If anybody out there has a great musical that they want
It's in you. I saw you rehearsing. Do you miss it? Miss Broadway?
Well, I do everything. I mean, I get to do this, so that you know, if I didn't do this, I would really miss it. But I do get to do my my club act with some regularity, and I get to perform in front of people. So it's takes a little of the edge off. But I really would love to go back to a good Broadway property, but we haven't found it.
You mentioned television. You were in the Rothschilds' Tony Award-winning production and performance. That led to your role in Barney Miller. How did that role? It was a plum role. We still have reruns on every night, Channel 9. How did that role change your life?
Well, I was a successful Broadway leading man. That's a station devoutly to be wished, but it's limited. Most of America does not know successful Broadway leading men. It's the amount of people who actually do go to Broadway is very limited. And then all of a sudden, I was in everybody's living room, den, or bedroom. And certainly a wider range, a larger amount of America now knows who I am and now knows what I can do. And so, of course, it opens all kinds of vistas for doing all kinds of different things.
When you're walking down the street and people come up to you and say, Barney Miller, how do you respond? Do you wish they knew you as Hal Linden?
I guess the amount of times I was Barney Miller in their home exceeds the amount of times I was Hal Linden in their home, so it's to be expected. It doesn't bother me. I answer to both names. I don't sign Barney Miller's autographs, though. I figure let him sign it.
What do you think accounts for the success of the show? As a matter of fact, this morning I was talking to some people. We were talking about politics, and we were talking about the news. And someone says, well, he just doesn't feel like watching the news. He flips on Barney Miller. He loves that show. Why do you think it appeals to the audiences still? This is after many years.
I think it's mostly because it was probably the best written show ever in the history of television. The writing was as fine as anywhere, television or films. Barney was not a success right away, you know. It took quite a few years before the public caught into it. And as a matter of fact, in its entire 8-year run, it was only in the top 10, I think, twice. It wasn't even a top 10 show when it was on. I think what it amounts to is that most of television is instant gratification. It's kind of like whipped cream. It tastes sweet right away, and you get the whole of it immediately. It disappears in your mouth very quickly. There's nothing left to chew on. Barney was the opposite. Barney was not instant, and because of that, I think was not an immediate success. However, there's a lot to chew on it. It's easy to see Barney a second time or a third time because there's things in it that you missed the first time. And it's so well written that it has even levels beyond the obvious levels. It's literate, well constructed, and we were lucky to be a part of something as well put together as Barney was.
One thing that was instant, you were nominated for an Emmy within your first year on the show. Did that surprise you?
7 nominations for an Emmy, and I never won one. Interesting. Barney Miller didn't win an Emmy until it was canceled. Well, I think it's all part of the same thing. Barney Miller was an independent production. It didn't have a major studio behind it. It didn't have a lot of people working on it and therefore voting for it. It was owned and operated by one man who created it, and because of that, there were no committees to tell us what to do. It was just writers and actors working together.
That must can be better. That must be beneficial. Yeah.
Yes.
You get the product.
But that's why we were not. As I said, we never won the Emmy.
Was that important to you?
It never was the only time it was important to me was between the nomination and the actual award, because I had to go and turn up and be there, you know. And then I started thinking, yeah, why shouldn't I win an award? You know, I think I'd do a very good job, and it's worthy as an award. And then somebody else would win, and I'd say, why do I do this every year? Why do I come back here? Unfortunately, the Emmy is a bit too widespread. Yeah, there are too many given out and too many won, and you can win an Emmy for anything all across the country. When my wife was looking for a house in California, I think she looked at 135 houses before we actually chose the one we bought, and in at least 1 out of 10 of those houses there was an Emmy in the den. So it's you know, one likes to be applauded for what one does, but I think far more than getting an Emmy for it was the knowledge that people still to this day enjoy it, and probably will for many, many years to come, and that there will be something to enjoy. It's not just nostalgia that they're watching.
And you were part of it.
And I was part of it.
You've been very busy. Like I mentioned, at 58, you were started the Surge and Broadway. Were there ever any lean periods in your life?
58 is when I finally made it onto Broadway, right. I was not solvent until about 67. It was, it was all lean. From 58 right through to 67 is where I finally started to make enough money.
When you finally started making it, did you ever consider quitting?
No. It's when I wasn't making it that I considered quitting it quite a few times. You don't know if you're kidding yourself, you know.
What drives you then to make it?
I wasn't driven to make it. I think I was driven to do good work. I was driven. I think I had a lot of confidence in my own ability. I really felt that I could do something unique and interesting and good, and I just was going to hang around until I got an opportunity to do something. I think that's what kept me in there, and that's what happened basically. I finally got an opportunity to do a part that had a little something, which led to another part which had a little something, which led to another, which led to the Rothschilds, which led to Barney Miller.
Which sounds very, very exhausting. How do you relax?
Oh, I had plenty of relaxation. I'm a skier, which is not too relaxing, but exciting. I was a jogger until this year when I started to get bad knees. But I just came from Hong Kong. I was on a cruise, 8-day cruise, and I worked one day. That's not too tough duty. Plenty of relaxation.
Al, you have 4 kids.
4 kids.
Your eldest is, I believe, 24 years old. Any signs of show business for any of them, and would you encourage them?
My eldest is Amelia. She'll be 24 this year. She's in production. She does production assistant and secretarial work, and for various TV shows. I think she just got a new job, which I haven't heard about. I will when I get back. My second daughter is Jennifer. Jennifer was the one who sang with me on the telethons that I did. Really good voice. I don't know if she's got the stick-to-itiveness to fight the battles, but she's a student at University of California, Davis. So maybe there might be some show business there. My third daughter is Nora. Nora is 18 and graduating high school, and she will definitely be in the theater as an actress, or will try to be an actress. My son is 17, and he at the moment wants to be a doctor, which is a noble... I told him, just because you got bar mitzvah doesn't mean you have to be a doctor, you know. But at the moment he's talking doctor.
But do you encourage them to go into show business, the other 3? And they said, Dad, Mom...
We haven't really discussed it yet, but how I feel about it, I think that you should do what drives you. And if you want to be in show business, you should do that. It's a very enlightening profession. Gives you the opportunity to play a lot of different characters, be a lot of different people, and learn about a lot of different attitudes in life. It's a very broadening experience.
How do you maintain your identity as Hal Linden underneath all those roles?
Well, that's up to, you have to have a good, strong ego. That helps.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other things besides work, I mean, you still have family and a wife. You have to, that keeps your feet on the ground.
You said you have to do whatever drives you, and that's how you would advise your children. Your father was a printer. Your brother has his doctorate in music. Did they ever encourage you to go into show business?
Oh, yeah. Well, they encouraged us to partake, to be, not in theater. No, I started as a musician. My whole family were musicians. Everyone at my generation, at one point or another, played an instrument, and 1, 2, 3 are still professional musicians to this day. Some are not, but we all had musical training. We all had. We were always encouraged to become part, at least culturally aware of what was going on. Now, when I went into the theater, that was a bit of a shock. I don't think anybody really encouraged that. But I was captivated by it and stuck with it until, once I became successful, then it was then it was okay.
This is my son, Hal, the actor.
My son, the actor, yeah.
You had just mentioned about your son, bar mitzvah. He says, hey, just because you bar mitzvah, you don't become a doctor. You're here to celebrate the 13th year of the Ark, the bar mitzvah of the Ark. Were you yourself bar mitzvah?
This is really 13th year?
Yes.
Oh, sure, I was bar mitzvah. Oh, yeah.
Any memories of that?
I was bar mitzvah during World War II, right, during World War II, and so where my brother had a major bar mitzvah, it was deemed unseemly in those years to have a major affair, and so we just had delicatessen sandwiches at home, I remember. And I remember making a sign that we put behind the sandwiches which said, "The Lord helps those who help themselves."
So you helped yourself to a lot of corned beef?
That's right. I remember studying for my bar mitzvah.
Did you rely at all on that background for your role as a father in the Rothschilds?
Not really. I had to do a lot of other investigation into it. Certainly, having that background made a lot of it emotionally a part of my life. But being a Jew in 1970 is one thing, and being a Jew in 1770 was something quite different. So that kind of investigation had to be done. I had to do a lot of research into the...
What kind of startling contrasts were there between...
Well, aside from the immediate contrast, the question is what goes on in the brain. I mean, my mind is, in that area, is colored by the Second World War. It's colored by the Holocaust. It's colored by not too many personal experiences, because I didn't really experience too much, growing up. But someone in 18th century Germany, after a history, his life would be colored by the picture of a Jew in a cage up on a pole. That's a totally different, you behave differently when you have that background. So I had to do quite a bit of research on that.
There's a line in the Rothschilds, I believe, as a father goes somewhat like this, and it's paraphrasing.
It's okay, I do it all the time.
Even on stage.
Sure.
And being a Jew, you have to be true to it. How close is that to your own feelings?
I think it's I don't recall that exact phrase. It must have been something a little different, but in terms of your question, I think it's something that it's not voluntary anymore. I grew up, my father, the one single thing I remember most about my father was his devotion to Zionism. My father was an ardent Zionist, all his life, and if there was anything that was the most important thing in his life, and he didn't have to sit us down and talk about it. He lived it, and that, to me, was, you know, I can't walk away from that. There's no way. It's a part of my life.
In all your roles, you were in Hyman Kaplan, Bells Are Ringing, The Rothschilds, Barney Miller. You were also in a made-for-TV movie with Ann Mara. Which role can you best identify with?
I identify with everything I can possibly. Every role I play, I try as much as I can to identify with. No, I wouldn't choose between roles.
This past year, someone passed away. It was an unfortunate passing, Ethel Merman.
No, dear.
Very much a part of Broadway. What does that passing say to you? What kind of absence?
Well, I worked with Ethel once. I never worked with her on stage. I worked with her on television. She was an incredibly vital and powerful lady. She brooked none of the self-indulgences that have become part of the acting profession. She came in, got on time, took off her coat and started singing. Period. Didn't warm up, just did her work. Stand here, stood here, you know. It was I think it was an attitude toward theater that has changed. It wasn't, I don't know, it was total, I wouldn't buy it hook, line, and sinker, but she was indicative of a period of theater that, she was a representative of a period of theater that is no longer.
Hal Linden, we're pleased to have your presence with us today. Thank you for joining us. And for Focus, I'm Deborah Palmer.